Hello, we are class 16 and I'm Lizaveta. Today we explain how technological innovations change humans as a species throughout the ages. Don't worry, it won't be a physics or history lecture. What if I tell you that this is about you and your daily life? Have you ever imagined what your life would look and feel like if you were born 50 years in the past or in the future? Of course, Lizaveta. If I hadn't had my computer, I would send my friends a letter made of paper, and if I hadn't had my shoes, I probably wouldn't go out as much. But me would still be me, right? Are you sure about this? Forget about computers. Obviously, it's a scientifically complicated technology that made our lives easy. But even a very simple invention can have a huge impact on our life. Think about money. It's a piece of paper. It used to be wooden slates and pieces of metal, now it's in a digital format. But our society depends entirely on it. You go to school, to college, you spend 1/3 of your life working. Your desires, your mood, your values are associated with it. What would happen if money would lose its value? How did people live before money was invented? Who would you be? Get comfortable, because today my group is ready to take you on an adventure throughout the ages. My first group has Eddie as a project lead.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Today, we're going to be talking about Stone Age. Segal is going to cover an advanced fire, and then we're going to pass it over to Josen, that's going to be covering Mesolithic Age, and then it's going to be ended with Ahmed covering Neolithic Age as well as farming. I'm going to be covering a little intro on Stone Age, as well as a little fun fact about what happened during that era and the tools that came up from that era. Without further ado, let's dive into it. So Stone Age depicts a period of time in prehistory where humans started using handmade tools. Most of the tools were made out of stones. Can you move on to the next slide? The Stone Age occurred about 5,000 years ago, and it lasted a period of about 2.5 million years. During the Stone Age, the planets were shared by mainly humans, Denisovans, and Neanderthals. As you can see in this picture, it's a skull image of the different types of hominins. So that's the human skull, that's the Neanderthal, and then that's the Denisovan. I found this image interesting because I thought I had a big head, but I was not ready for that, so Denisovans beat me to that. Move on to the next slide. So during that era, humans were not, they were not a lot in population. But this artifact, which was found in Germany, Venezuela Fallen Fails, excuse my German, but it was named after the cave that was found in Germany, and it's about 40,000 years old. It is made out of ivory, and it's a sculpture of a female body. As you can see, these are the huge breasts, which they exaggerate on that, the belly, the legs, you can see. The head piece is kind of missing, but mainly scientists argue that it was used as a way of protecting them during the Stone Age against spiritual forces. Move on to the next slide. So Paleolithic Age. I'm going to break it down. Paleo derives from a Greek word paleo, which means old. Lithic is lithos, which means stone. So another way you could call this would be the old Stone Age. During this era, a lot of Homo sapiens, or humans as we know them, they gathered in small societies, and what their main purpose was, they were hunter-gatherers. So they just, live their day-to-day activities, looking for food and ways of survival. Most of them hunted wild animals like cave tigers. Most of them were fishing, and some of them went into farming. The Paleolithic age is split into three divisions: the lower Paleolithic age, the middle Paleolithic age, and the upper Paleolithic age. And I'm going to dive into it. So the lower Paleolithic age was essentially the first time humans invented a tool. Basically, they just had two rocks and they just strike against the rock they intend to make a tool out of. They shape it with other materials like wood, and eventually, in this picture, it ended up being a hand axe. Yeah, so this is just a basic description of how, in this case, it's a hand axe. The very first step was just having a random rock, and then having a rock where the rock you intend to make a tool out of. This is like a wood to help you in chipping the edges, making it finer and smoother. You can also pry out the stone to make it into a very artful piece. So during this age was when humans started knowing how to make tools and make other artifacts. It was really an important moment in our age of history. Next slide, please. During the Middle Paleolithic age, nothing really happened. Humans were comfortable with the tools they were making. We were living with it. But one interesting fact was that a lot of the Neanderthals were fading out, mainly because of their short lifespans. So most of modern humans from Africa became more popular and became more populous as well in this era. So humans were about to take over during this era. Next slide, please. And then the Upper Paleolithic was the last stage in this Paleolithic era. Basically, this is a bearing, and it's used in carving into wood or shaping other tools as well. By this era, a lot of Neanderthals were extinct and humans were pretty much dominant in this era. So a lot of creations with stones were more evident in this era, as well as caves that we see in our present day. Yes, even though with all these tools created at this point, fire remains from various Paleolithic sites depicted that humans at that time knew what fire was. And that I'm going to lead Sigal to talk about fire.
So, to discuss fire, the first thing to ask is, was fire discovered? Do you guys believe that fire was discovered? Okay, so fire was not discovered. Fire did exist beyond even human existence. Fire was learned to control, humans learned to control fire, and their first experience with fire were natural disasters, some things like forest fires, and over time, humans learned to carry fire, avoid it, protect it from downpours, rain, to keep the fire going, and eventually learn to use it. So with the control of fire, human life changed greatly. The first things were food. Second things was warmth, light. Humans were able to exist beyond the natural areas that they used to exist, so they're able to live in colder areas and have warmth that they can take with them everywhere they go. Humans were also able to stay up beyond the dark night hours. Usually they'd be avoiding darker areas, staying farther away from their communities during the late night hours to avoid potential dangers and things that they weren't aware of in the dark. Another thing that changed with fire was food and how humans interacted with food. And being able to cook food changed humans because it changed their brain development. When you're eating raw food, you're not getting all the nutrients and you're getting less energy than if you were to cook food. For an example, if you were to eat a raw egg versus a cooked egg, you'd get 70% more energy from the cooked egg because you're expending less energy eating it, consuming it, and you're getting more nutrients in. That also changed our brain development, and it allows us to grow stronger, grow smarter as well, and be the humans that we are today. Food also impacted how we came together as communities. Being able to gather around campfires, food became a source of conversation, something to talk over, something to gather around, and as well as the process of getting food, humans began to collaborate to make weapons and certain things that they used to hunt, like arrows and things like that to hunt, and the way they hunted changed, the way they cooked food and cut food changed as well with fire. Fire helped them form those sharp edges at times that they needed to hunt. It also changed how they came together. So a process of taxation, people can say, basically was developed through this time. Being able to pitch in and bring wood to the fire, being able to pitch in energy when it comes to hunting and things like that, so that you yourself can eat. So certain societal impacts of fire was geographic dispersal, being able to, like I said, live beyond the areas that they used to contain themselves in, and being able to move around and become nomads in certain parts of East Africa and other parts of the world eventually.
So I'm going to talk about the Mesolithic age. So we're going to break down the Mesolithic. So meso derives from the Greek word mesos, meaning middle, and then lithic, lithos, meaning stone. So Middle Stone Age. Mesolithic age started when the Pleistocene epoch was about to end. Pleistocene epoch is when the Ice Age is, or Pleistocene is basically Ice Age, and since the Earth was getting warmer, many Mesolithic humans saw this as an opportunity to find rivers and forests that were basically covered in ice before in Ice Age. So they next please. They saw this opportunity to go to forests, and then this leads them to invent the basket, which can help storing fruits they gathered from the forest. And then next please. This also leads to the invention of microliths. It's basically a stone flake, or a centimeter long stone flakes that can be attached into a spear, and which can be used for fishing. And then this can also be used as an arrowhead, which leads them to invent bows and arrows. And then also the adze, they saw this opportunity to invent adze as well. So this helps for carpentry, and then leads them to next please, build canoes for more efficient fishing and travel large bodies of water. Since they discovered that they can eat fish and fruits, they began to learn the concept of like settlements near rivers and forests. But since then, over time, they encountered a problem, which when they exhausted all the resources available to the area around them, they began to be forced to move away again and then live a nomadic life. And then later on, though, they will learn the concept of how to address that problem, which exhausting resources, and leads to the following age, which is the Neolithic age.
Okay, so what I'm going to be covering is the Neolithic age. Neo meaning new, lithic meaning stone, so this is the new Stone Age. As my colleagues covered, early humans were nomads. They moved from place to place, and they were originally in small groups, about 20 or 30. So, and they had to follow their food. They had to move with their food. So, whenever their food moved, they had to go with it. So, that means it was hard for them to store their food. So, they could only take what they could carry. And that all changed when they started agriculture, when they started farming. And now that people started farming, they started growing flour, rice, and different things that they could store. And that means if you're gonna grow something, you're gonna stay there. And if you stay there, you can have a surplus, you can start storing your food, you can have a lot of that stuff, and more food needs more people. And yeah, and that also brought on the domestication of animals. So when people, this is like the first time people actually started domesticating animals and using animals other than food. They used them to help them plow through the fields, used it to help them with the irrigation to get the water from the streams down to the plants that they're growing. They also domesticated dogs to help them hunt. They used cows for their hide and milk and all that other stuff. And also, so as people, with now that they're not hunter and gatherers, people have a lot more time to do other things, and there's a lot of advances in technology. So they have way more time to do other things, so they can focus on advanced technology like creating calendars. They can focus on art like Stonehenges and all that. Sorry, my slides are it's all out of place. Go on to tools and so there's a division of labor, so people have more time to do things. So that means that they didn't have to hunt and gather, so people could do a lot more things. Any questions?
Yeah. You guys have any questions about